this lunation is going to highlight those things that make us happy. What is truly in our heart? What is your heart's desire? And Mercury retrograde is really going to ask you the same things that the lunation is highlighting. We're going to go through a deep internal review of what truly makes us happy, depending on which house Leo rules in your chart. The Mercury retrograde is starting in the sign of Virgo. Virgo is the natural sixth house of the zodiac. This is the house that rules over our daily routine, what we do on a daily basis, like our work, our co-workers, and of course our pet. We take care of our pets on a daily basis. This is the house that also rules over our known enemies, and our known enemies sometimes could be ourselves through our bad habits, like smoking, drinking, or bad eating habits and lack of exercise. Essentially, this house rules over our health, our diet, our exercise regimen, the medications that we're on, our doctors, and if you have your own business, the people that work for you. After the lunation, the Mercury retrograde is going to start from Virgo, the sixth house, looking over our Virgo house and looking at the details and separating what is needed and what is not needed, separating the wheat from the chaff. And this is exactly what Virgo is good at. Virgo is ruled by Mercury, so it's also a mercurial sign, just like Gemini. But in Gemini, we're collecting all kinds of information just for the hell of it, collecting data for the purpose of collecting data, collecting information just for information's sake. But in the sign of Virgo, we narrow it down to what is useful, to what is really going to be helpful in achieving something real and tangible. Remember, Virgo is an earth sign after all. This means that we're going to be really grounded and serious when this Mercury retrograde is in the sign of Virgo, and when Mercury retrogrades back into the sign of Leo, we're going to start asking ourselves what truly makes us happy, what truly brings joy in our life. We're going to be looking over these details and try and find our joy, our inner joy and our inner child. Real happiness. A new moon in Leo is one we tend to look forward to because Leo is the house that rules over the fifth house. And the fifth house is a house of joy. This is a house that rules over our creative ability, our children being our greatest creation. It rules over our talents. It rules over people on stage, our leaders, kings, royalty. It also rules over luck, good luck karma that we earned in a past life for our good deeds. This karma is available to us to use in this lifetime. So essentially our good luck is being activated by this lunation. This is a house that also rules entertainment, sports and romance. Hello YouTube, my name is Rachel Mayo. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. If you're new to my channel and you've not yet subscribed, please subscribe. It's absolutely free. It will not cost you a penny, but it will help me a whole lot. It really helps my channel grow. I would like to say a big thank you to all my new subscribers and to all the people that leave me comments and share their experiences. Commenting, liking, and sharing my videos really helps my channel. It informs the YouTube algorithm that you are enjoying my content, you like my content. Therefore, the algorithm will suggest my video to other people who love astrology just like yourself. I'm going to be discussing how the new moon in Leo is going to affect you according to your ascendant sign. I'm also going to discuss what your ruling planet is doing at the time of the lunation. In this video, I'm also going to talk about Mercury retrograde because Mercury is going to go retrograde a day after the new moon in Leo. The new moon is happening on August 4th at 7:13 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Make sure you're checking for your own time zone in order to get the correct ascendant. This lunation is happening at 12:34 degrees of Leo. Mercury has been in retrograde shadow since July 16. Mercury is going to go retrograde the day after the lunation on August 5th. Mercury is going to go retrograde first in the sign of Virgo at 4:06 degrees of Virgo. Mercury is going to go back into the sign of Leo and retrograde back to 21 degrees of Leo. This is very close to the degree of the VSP that happened in the sign of Leo. The VSP was at around 20 degrees of of Leo. So essentially, this means that this Mercury retrograde is going to take us back to the events that occurred, or the events that we initiated around the time of the VSP in Leo. This was around sometime in August. So you have to ask yourself, what was going on around that time? Those are the issues that Mercury wants to go over, Mercury wants to revisit or revise. The other interesting thing about this whole retrograde cycle is that this also is the area where Venus was retrograding, and the new moon is happening very close to that degree. So this says to me that whatever we're going to be initiating will have to do with something that was already initiated at the time of the Leo VSP. Unfortunately, this new moon is very well aspected. It has positive aspects to the nodes, and it also has positive aspects to the Mars-Jupiter conjunction. So we are being propelled towards our destiny. The sextile to the south node is going to bring us opportunities, and we're going to be able to move these opportunities forward because there is a harmonious trine to the north node. So we're going to be pushed along towards our destiny. This is going to be a fated new moon. Fated events are going to occur. Fated new beginnings are also going to happen. New beginnings that will involve or perhaps include something from our past. The new moon sextile Mars and Jupiter in the sign of Gemini, the sign of communication, information, our immediate environment. So we're looking over details here. We're going over really important information that may have something to do with our future. I'm really excited about this lunation because I think it's bringing the positive energy that we need in order to move things along. Things which probably had no traction for months and months. Mercury retrogrades are good for things like revision, going over past issues, past information, or past incidents that may have not possibly gone to your liking, going over information from the past that you need in order to move forward. Mercury retrogrades are not a good time for you to start something totally brand new. You can initiate something that you've already put the details together previously, but you're just now moving something forward. Being careful to look at the details, and if it is an agreement that you're signing at this time, it's very important for you to have your lawyer look over it. He knows the details, he can see things a bit better than you can. You have the assurance that you had a lawyer look over your contract. It's certainly not a time for you to stop your whole life simply because Mercury is going retrograde. Mercury goes retrograde 3 times a year. You cannot stop your life because of it. Mercury retrograde is also useful for looking for things that you lost, things that you misplaced in the past. You can definitely find them during a Mercury retrograde. And this also includes people from our past. So it's very likely that people from our past will be coming back into our lives, and most likely our lovers, because Leo rules over romance. Keep in mind that this retrograde has its challenging phases. It's most powerful and helpful at the beginning of the retrograde in the sign of Virgo, because Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is dominant and powerful. Mercury is going to meet with challenges when it starts retrograding into the sign of Leo because of the square aspects. So the things that are important to do during a Mercury retrograde are things like going over past information, doing revisions, revisiting past issues. Past relationships will probably come back. It's a good time to go over past issues, past disagreements. This Mercury retrograde is going to give us an opportunity to discuss with our partners, our business partners, or people who we have contracts or agreements with, what we love and value. And this is because retrograde Mercury is going to bump into Venus at 344 degrees of Virgo. The Mercury-Venus conjunction is an aspect that allows you to tell somebody how you truly feel about them. This is an excellent time for you to tell somebody that you love them. Also a great time to go over business agreements and business partnerships. And I suggest that you do this before Mercury starts to retrograde in the sign of Leo, because Mercury is going to start squaring Uranus, and you're going to get unpleasant surprises, or perhaps you're going to be delivering unpleasant news. So use this energy while Mercury is retrograde in the sign of Virgo to at least get together with people who you've had disagreements with in the past. It's not going to get easier for a reconciliation or getting back together while Mercury is retrograding in the sign of Leo, because of the negative and challenging square aspects Mercury is going to be making to the Algo-Uranus conjunction. If you're one of those people that had an event occur at the time of the Mars-Uranus conjunction, we're going to have more information at the Mercury cazimi. Mercury is going to be retrograde at this cazimi. Mercury is going to be squaring Uranus at the time of the cazimi. This means that Mercury is going to bring up information that he's discovered while going retrograde, and this information could have something to do with the prior Mars-Uranus algo conjunction. If we didn't have all the information, we're going to have all the information at this cazimi. It's going to be shocking, unexpected, and surprising. We all know what happened here in America with one of our former presidents, and also the events that transpired at the Capricorn full moon. If you watch my video on the Capricorn full moon, which I titled "What Goes Around Comes Around," it certainly did come around for a lot of people. It certainly did bring major breakdowns of old structures and old people. And then there was an intensification of events at the Sun opposite Pluto. This aspect revealed all the secrets or whatever was going on in the background. So if you have to make a life-changing decision around the time of the retrograde, it's best to make that decision when Mercury is going retrograde in the sign of Virgo, because Mercury is dominant in the sign of Virgo, because he rules this sign. And the sign of Virgo is excellent at sorting out important information. Let's not forget the lovely aspect of the Mercury-Venus conjunction. So what's going to happen with Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo? The sign of Leo, like I said, rules over romance. So it's very likely that lovers from the past are going to come knocking on your door. And they're going to come with really important information. And perhaps you need this information in order to move forward. And when these lovers come back from our past, it doesn't mean that we have to take them back. Perhaps they're coming back for closure or for some type of healing. So give them that closure, give them what they need, and walk away. Probably going to have a lot of information come up, information that has something to do with the things that transpired at the VSP in Leo that happened last August. This Mercury retrograde is really going far back into the past, because the degrees that it's going over are very important degrees, and Mercury is going to reactivate all these things. Perhaps there was missing information that you need, this information that you need to move forward. Perhaps you have a legal case that needs information from past events. This retrograde is giving you that vital information, and the time to really concentrate on looking for that information is at the time when Mercury is transiting Virgo. Venus in Leo at 29 degrees is quincunx Neptune at 29 degrees of Pisces. The quincunx is an aspect of planets being at the same degree but not being able to communicate or seeing each other. I would ask you to be very honest and clear with yourself when it comes to issues of love and money. Whatever it is that you love and value, or that thing that you hold really close to your heart, are you seeing the other person clearly in this situation, or do you have your pink glasses on and want to see things the way you want to see them? Or are you judging people or situations according to their potential? So just make sure you're not wearing pink glasses and painting little gold and pink stars around situations or around the people that you love and value. Venus is still widely square Uranus, who's still currently transiting Taurus, a sign that she rules. Taurus rules over the natural second house of the zodiac, rules over the things that we love and value and our money. So there will be surprises when it comes to those issues. This means that there could be sudden breakups in relationships. There's also a possibility for financial losses. And for some, if you're feeling bored in your relationship, this is the moment where you're going to decide to break free. And for single people, if you do start a relationship with these aspects, it's very likely that you meet somebody quite unexpectedly, somebody who's unusual, and you're going into a romantic relationship with this person. It's going to feel very exciting, but that excitement is soon going to wear off. So relationships can start instantly and end just as quickly. There are two quincunxes in this chart. The new moon is also quincunx Saturn, who's transiting the sign of Pisces. Quincunx is an aspect of planets that cannot see each other. This quincunx is perhaps suggesting that you might be confused about what brings you joy. And since Pisces Pisces is the last sign of the zodiac. This is the house where we are blind. This is the house of generational karma. I suggest that you rely on your subconscious and your intuition to guide you to what makes you, to guide you in this instance. So who's going to be highly impacted by this new moon? It is the fixed signs. The fixed signs are Taurus, Scorpio, Leo, and Aquarius. Leo, you're going to be impacted the most because this lunation is happening in your sign after all. Taurus and Scorpio are going to be highly impacted because they're going to square this lunation, and a square aspect is a challenging aspect that pushes you into taking action. Aquarius is going to feel the opposition, so this essentially means that other people are going to oppose you at this time. The fire signs are going to have a better experience with this lunation simply because they're going to trine this lunation. The fire signs are Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius. The trine aspect is one of the best is the best aspect in astrology simply because it makes things happen easier. It flows harmoniously between the houses. The air signs are also going to have an easier experience with this lunation. The air signs are Gemini, Libra, and Aquarius, and simply because they're going to sextile this lunation. The sextile aspect brings opportunities, but you have to make an effort to take advantage of these opportunities, otherwise this energy just dissipates. If you were born on or around the 5th of August, you're going to have this energy in your solar return chart. This is going to be a year of brand new beginnings. This is one of those that really leave an impression. You remember starting something really significant when you have a new moon in your solar return chart. So this is an excellent time for you to book a solar return chart reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. I'm still doing the competition for a free solar return chart reading with me. If you'd like to enter this competition, all you have to do is subscribe to my channel and comment below saying free solar and subscribed. I'll be choosing 3 lucky winners at the full moon video. So if you already commented in my previous videos, I encourage you to still comment on this video. You can comment as many times as you like. Get me to notice you. Let's go over the chart of the new moon. The new moon is happening in Leo, so we see the sun and the moon at 12 degrees of Leo. The conjunction of the sun and the moon is essentially what we call a new moon. The lunation is trine Mars and Jupiter in the sign of Gemini. This is actually the most exact and pretty much the only aspect this lunation is making, and this is why this lunation is going to feel very easy. However, it's the other aspects that are happening at the time of this lunation that are going to bring some complications. Venus at 29 degrees of Leo, a critical degree. This means that this lunation is going to bring up something critical to do with perhaps important females like leaders or royalties, perhaps even entertainers, because all these fall under the sign of Leo. Venus is square Uranus, who's around 27 degrees of Taurus. Remember, we just had the Mars-Uranus-Algo conjunction at 26 degrees. So this Venus is probably going to be kicking up the dust and bringing up events that occurred at that conjunction. Venus is making a positive aspect to Chiron. There is a trine aspect. It will bring up something that is probably healing something that happened at the time of that conjunction. If I remember correctly, we had a negative aspect to Chiron at the time of that conjunction. Now we have a trine aspect, which is a healing aspect. Venus is quincunx Neptune. These 2 planets are not seeing each other clearly. That is the aspect of the quincunx. 2 planets at the same degree in signs that do not communicate with each other. Venus is also widely quincunx Pluto in the sign of Aquarius. So there is something else that is going on with in the sign of Aquarius, the sign of the people, that we cannot see clearly about the things that rule the 5th house. Our leaders, perhaps female leaders because of Venus, royalty, or perhaps it has to do with our money, our small businesses, or something to do with entertainment, our children, or our lover. Mercury is widely square Uranus, so we are still probably dealing with surprising news, unexpected communications. Probably these communications brought disagreements and arguments in our life. We're still dealing with the aftermath of whatever occurred at the Mars-Algo-Uranus conjunction. Mercury is stationary retrograde at the time of this lunation, so we don't have all the information that we need in order to make solid decisions. We're not 100% sure about all the details. I'm going to go over some really important dates for you to watch out for during the month of August. We have the new moon in Leo on the 4th of August, and Mercury turns retrograde on the 5th of August. And later on the same day, Venus moves into Virgo. 8th of August, we're going to have Mercury conjunct Venus in Virgo at 344 degrees of Virgo. This is a very lovely aspect. This is going to give us an opportunity to communicate how we truly feel. The 14th of August, we're going to have Mars conjunct Jupiter at 1640 degrees of Gemini. On the 15th of August, Mercury is going to re-enter the sign of Leo. On the 18th of August, Mercury in Leo is going to square Uranus at 27 degrees of Taurus. This is going to be a rather intense day. A few days before or a few days after this day, expect the unexpected when it comes to information and the reactivation of the Mars-Algo-Uranus conjunction. On the 19th of August, retrograde Mercury is cazimi the Sun. This is the conjunction of Mercury and the Sun. And this is going to happen at 2715 degrees of Leo. So if you really have to make a decision about something important, or you have to sign some documents, this will be one of the better days for you to do so. Because at this point, Mercury has gathered enough information, and perhaps Mercury has found the information that he's been looking for. Mercury is much more enlightened at the time of this cazimi. However, if you can wait to make this decision, I would rather you did this after Mercury is transiting direct. So the only thing that's really not pleasant about this cazimi is the fact that it's square the Algo-Uranus conjunction. This means that this is the day we might discover a lot more information of what may have transpired at the time of the Mars-Uranus conjunction. And we all know what happened here in America with one of our former presidents. So perhaps a lot more information is going to come out at the time of this cazimi. On the 23rd of August, retrograde Mercury in Leo is going to trine Chiron. This is a harmonious and healing aspect. Perhaps at this time, we're going to receive some type of information that is going to help us heal from whatever events happened at the time of the reactivation of the Mars-Uranus Algo conjunction. On August 27, Mercury is going to retrograde over the previous VSP in Leo that happened at 20 degrees of Leo last year in August. So perhaps at this time, we're going to have the information that we need in order to move forward. And this information has to do with events that occurred then. The next day, on the 28th of August, Mercury is going to station direct at 2125 degrees of Leo. Now we can trust the information that we got from people because we've had a chance to investigate and review the information. Aries ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 5th house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we begin something has to come to an end. This is also where Mercury is going to do most of his retrograde. Aries, if you've not listened to the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the whole introduction, because whatever I say in the introduction is really pertinent to you. Aries sets the order of the zodiac because you are the first sign. Aries, Mercury retrograde is going to begin in your 6th house. The 6th house rules over our daily routine, our health, our exercise regimen. It rules over the work that we do every day. It also rules over our co-workers and our pets. These are the issues that you're going to be going over for the beginning of the Mercury retrograde transit, because it's going to be in the sign of Virgo. This is a chance for you to review your dietary habits, your working conditions, and perhaps your workout regimen. Anything that has to do with how you do your life on a daily basis, how you do your work, how you take care of your pet. Mercury is really strong in this sign because he rules the sign of Virgo. During the retrograde, he's going to conjunct Venus. Venus rules an important angle in your chart, the angle of your partnerships, business contracts, or anybody that you have a committed relationship, or anybody that you have a committed relationship with. This is important because this is going to give you a chance to perhaps renegotiate deals in a contract, or perhaps reconcile a marriage or any other relationship that is really meaningful and important to you. So pay attention to the first part of the retrograde, simply because it's giving you this chance to say sweet nothings to your partner. It's an excellent time for you to say I love you to the person that you're with. Don't worry too much because the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo, your fifth house, is also another opportunity for you to reconcile with a past lover, or perhaps change your relationship with your children. The fifth house is the house of joy. So this is going to be a rather pleasant new moon for you, Aries. And the other reason is because you trine this new moon. You're going to have harmonious energy flowing to the lunation. This is going to make things happen rather easily and effortlessly for you. So if you're wanting to start a new romance, this is an excellent time for you to do so. Or perhaps it's a creative project with one of your children, or perhaps you have a creative project that you want to turn into a business. It's going to help you earn some extra money. So Aries, you are one of the signs that's probably going to have old lovers show up at your doorstep. Aries, it doesn't mean that you have to take this lover back. Perhaps you just have to give them their healing and set them free. But if you think this is something that's possibly going to really work and you want to give this person a second chance, there is some hope, simply because the North Node is transiting in your sign, and Mars, your ruling planet, is transiting in the sign of Gemini, conjunct Jupiter, aspecting this lunation in a sextile aspect, bringing opportunities. And there's also a sextile aspect to the South Node. So definitely something from the past is going to come knocking on your door, and perhaps they'll be bringing some type of news or opportunities in some other area in your life. It doesn't necessarily have to do with the romantic partner. It could simply be missed opportunities from the past that can help you along in your future. This new moon can also bring you an opportunity to take a lovely vacation with your children or a romantic partner. If you're one of those people who's been having challenges getting pregnant, this new moon could be the one that brings you that positive pregnancy test. And this is also because of the positive aspects from your ruling planet to the lunation and to the transiting karmic nodes. This is also an excellent lunation for you to start a creative project that you can turn into a business, a profitable business, simply because of all the positive aspects that are happening at the time of this lunation. This is going to be a joyful new moon for you. Find what truly makes you happy and go after it. Go after your dreams. And with the North Node transiting your sign, this is definitely a time for you to do you and to be selfish to a certain extent. Aries, if you'd like to find out more information, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Taurus, ascendant, sun or moon. This new moon is happening in your fourth house. This is where you're going to have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we start something new, something usually comes to an end. This is also the house where you're going to have Mercury go retrograde. Mercury is going to go retrograde in your fifth house before he goes retrograde in your fourth house. And I like Mercury retrograde in Virgo because Virgo is an earth sign like yourself. So this energy is going to trine your ascendant. And the other fact we have to remember is Mercury is going to conjunct Venus, your ruling planet. This is another opportunity where you have a dominant Mercury in Virgo and your ruling planet conjuncted. You have the power to change things before Mercury goes into the sign of Leo, where he's going to be squaring your ascendant. So this is your open window to make sure you've settled issues with what truly makes you happy. Anything to do with your romantic partner, entertainment, or your children, or perhaps a small business that you own. Go over important details and important information when it comes to those issues, because Mercury is going to be going retrograde and forming a rather challenging aspect that is going to bring up issues from the prior Mars-Uranus Algo conjunction, which happened in your sign. So this retrograde is really, really personal. It's forcing you to look at issues that you probably don't want to look at, simply because the fourth house is an angle house. And when an angle house is activated, it activates all the other angles in your life. This is a lunation and a retrograde that could absolutely change your life. The fourth house is a parental axis. This house rules over the mother or the more nurturing parent. 10th house rules over the father or the more dominant parent. And your ascendant is being activated because you are Taurus, and it's also activating the opposite angle, which is the descendant areas of your partnerships, business partnerships, deep committed relationships, marriage. So everything is being highlighted in your life. And this retrograde is going over really intimate details because the fourth house is the most vulnerable house in our chart. You could have a new beginning with your mother, your family, or your ancestry. Some of you could be moving houses at this time, or you may be deciding to sell your house and you're going over information of perhaps who are the people who have a stake in this house. How many relatives do you have to pay out when you sell this estate? Those are the questions and the numbers that you're probably going over due to the retrograde. This new beginning could be happening also as a result of things that occurred at the last VSP in Leo. There's a square going on and Mercury is kicking up some information, old information, things that you have to go over. Taurus, there's a lot going on in your chart at this time. Your ruling planet is not aspecting this lunation, but your ruling planet is at a critical degree in Leo, the last degree, 29 degrees, indicating that there's an urgency or some type of need to really decide what you love and value when it comes to your home and family. Your ruling planet Venus has a really big role at the time of this lunation and at the retrograde a little bit later down the road. So you have some power here. You have the ability to make decisions that will direct your future, your destiny. Taurus, if you'd like to find out how this lunation and Mercury retrograde is going to affect you according to your natal placements, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Gemini, ascendant, sun, or moon. This lunation is happening in your third house. This is where you'll have a brand new beginning and perhaps an ending, because whenever we start something brand new, there's usually something has to end. This is also where you're going to have the rest of the Mercury retrograde. Mercury is going to start retrograding in your fourth house. This is where you're going to be dealing with deep-rooted issues. This is also where Mercury is highly empowered because it rules the sign of Virgo. So this is an excellent time for you to really take advantage of this the early part of the Mercury retrograde, to really separate the information or the issues that are most dear to you when it comes to your family, your ancestry. Perhaps you're thinking of a move and you're trying to decide where you're going to move. This is the time for you to really go over the important details of what is really going to make your family happy. If you have to repair or reconcile relationships in your family or with your mother, this is an excellent time for you to do so. Because when Mercury starts to go retrograde in the sign of Leo, it's going to be forming a rather challenging aspect. So it's going to be difficult for you to really know what type of home you want to move to if you're moving, or what type of home structure you want in your family. Gemini, I think some of you are going to walk back some of the things that you may have said when Mercury was in its retrograde shadow. What did you say to someone? What kind of an announcement did you make to other people in your immediate environment? You're rethinking your choices. This retrograde is giving you a chance to probably change your mind. And because your ruling planet Mercury is going to conjunct Venus, it is a chance for you perhaps to use some sweet words, sweet talk someone, renegotiate a deal, or perhaps whisper some sweet nothings. Perhaps you say whatever you have to in order to get in good graces with others. The new moon is going to bring you a new beginning with your siblings, your neighbor, your thought process. It's also going to perhaps bring you a new beginning in learning a skill or a language, because this is what the third house rules. Some of you may decide to buy a new phone or a computer at this time, and for others it could be that you decide to buy a vehicle that's going to help you get around. Mercury going retrograde in the third house is going to bring up past issues and arguments that you may have had with your siblings or with your neighbors. Some of you will be thinking over an idea that you may have had from before about writing a book, or writing or publishing a book. This is an excellent time for you to go over those details or the minute details of your book and maybe do some editing and revising. But if you're wanting to publish this book, I'd suggest that you wait for Mercury, your ruling planet, to go direct and finish the editing and perhaps move to publishing. Your ruling planet Mercury is not aspecting this lunation. However, Mercury is going to be forming a challenging aspect, a square aspect to Uranus a little bit later during its retrograde cycle. So you are going to be faced with delivering some unpleasant news, or perhaps you're going to be you're going to be the person on the receiving end of some unexpected and perhaps upsetting news. Mars and Jupiter are currently transiting your house. Mars is transiting there for the first time after 2 years. Jupiter is transiting there after 12 long years, and they're both meeting in your sign. You're probably feeling supercharged, super energized, and perhaps even a tad bit impulsive. You have a lot of energy going on in your sign. I suggest that you slow down and take a breath. Think about the actions you're about to take. Think about what you're about to say, especially when your ruling planet is making a square aspect to the Algo-Uranus conjunction, because things could get out of hand and very volatile. So be careful and think before you speak. Think before you act, because you're probably not going to like the results or the consequences of whatever actions that you're going to take while your ruling planet is moving retrograde and not seeing things clearly. So whatever brand new beginnings that you want to make at this time, think them over very carefully. Gemini, I think this lunation and Mercury retrograde could possibly go very well for you if you're careful. Your sign sextiles the sign of Leo, meaning that this lunation and Mercury retrograde is going to bring you opportunities that you can take advantage of to advance your future and to go towards your north node, because the lunar nodes are being aspected by your sign by a sextile and a trine aspect. All these are positive energies that can manifest positive things into your life. Cancer ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your second house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we begin something new, something else comes to an end. This is also the house where you're going to have the Mercury retrograde. The Mercury retrograde is first of all going to begin in your third house, and this is where you're going to have an opportunity to really make a difference with your siblings, with your neighbor, in your neighborhood, your immediate environment. And this is because while Mercury is transiting the sign of Virgo, he's going to be dominant in this sign, and he's going to be aspecting your sign in a sextile aspect, which is going to bring you the much needed opportunities that you're going to need to negotiate contracts or agreements. The early part of the retrograde is an excellent time for you to reconcile things in your neighborhood, with your neighbor, with your siblings, or perhaps to just rearrange things in your head, because the third house rules over the mind as well. It rules over our thought process. So if you've been having mental issues, there's an excellent time for you to get treatment, get on the correct medication before Mercury retrogrades into your second house and brings all this confusion about what you love and value, about your finances, your earning ability. Also, perhaps it could have something to do with issues with the family that you've chosen. This family is the family that you make with another person, like a spouse, or the friends that we've had in our life for a long time. They begin to feel like family. So this is where the retrograde and the new moon is going to occur. You might have a new beginning with your earning ability. Perhaps some of you are going to start a new job, or some of you will start a new business. The second house also rules over the mouth, what goes in and what comes out. So essentially, some of you could have a brand new beginning with a diet, and this could be a diet that you're going back to because you've had so much success with it in the past. And if this is so, this is an excellent time for you to do so. And for some of you, Mercury retrograde may be going over things that you may have said in the past, perhaps to a business partner or to a family member. Maybe there's some reconciliation that needs to go on with these people. The second house rules over what we love and value, and how we love ourselves and value ourselves. It rules over our self-esteem. Some of you could be going on over how you value yourself, or how you value the services that you provide to other people. Some of you may decide to increase your services accordingly or reduce them accordingly. Others of you will be asking yourselves if you really like what you do for a living. Does it bring you joy? Is it really worth the money that you're making? Is this something that you want to keep in your life moving forward? Your ruling planet is always involved in any lunation. So this means that Cancer feels all lunations personally. The moon is well aspected at the time of this lunation. The moon is sextile and trine to the south and north nodes. It's also sextile the Mars Jupiter conjunction in Gemini. So I really feel that this lunation is going to be quite positive for you, Cancer, if you really look out for the opportunities and take advantage of the early window of the Mercury retrograde. Make sure things are sorted out before things get a bit more challenging and confusing when Mercury is retrograding in the sign of Leo, because he's making more challenging aspects when he gets to that part of the retrograde. At the time of this lunation, Cancer might be feeling this inner joy and inner peace. It's because the moon is receiving all these positive aspects. This is an excellent new moon, Cancer, for you to make major changes in what you love and value. You're going to revise what really truly makes you happy. And at the end of this retrograde cycle, you're going to know exactly what actions you need to take because you have sorted out the information and what is really important to you. What do you really love and value? You're going to keep that in your life and you're going to use that to multiply your joy and happiness. A retrograde in the second house is an excellent time for you to look over what you own, your possessions. Look over the things that you own. What is still useful? What still brings joy and happiness in your life? If it doesn't bring any joy and happiness, it's an excellent time for you to get rid of it. I would suggest that you perhaps keep it for a little bit longer until after the retrograde is over, and then get rid of all the things that have no meaning in your life. You would have at least given yourself a chance to really think about what is truly meaningful to you. This also pertains to what we do for a living and the relationships that we keep in our life. Leo ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your first house. This is where you're going to have a brand new beginning and perhaps an ending, because whenever we begin something new, something has to come to an end. The first house is an angle house. It is the ascendant. And whenever an angle house is activated, it activates all the other angles in your life. So essentially this means that this one lunation could absolutely change your life, Leo. If you've not listened to the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the entire introduction. This is your new moon after all, so everything there really pertains to you. If this is your ascendant, this is going to affect you personally. It's going to affect your identity and how others see you, or how you want other people to see you. So essentially this means that there will be a brand new beginning in how you present yourself to the world, to others. And it's also going to change your relationships with other people, the descendants, the other angle across from you. It's also going to change your relationships with people in your home, the square aspect. It's also going to change the relationship with your standing in society. If this is your moon sign, it's going to change you on a deep emotional level. It's going to be highly personal, whatever changes that you're going to make at this time. And the moon rules over the home. It rules over our ancestry, our family. And for a woman, this could also be about fertility. Essentially, the moon rules the body. So there will be a brand new beginning with that too. It rules more the health aspect of the body. The sun rules your identity, your vital force. It rules your soul. So this is going to be a real deep and soulful transformation type of lunation for you. The new moon in the first house, you could change your hairstyle. Some of you could decide to have a brand new beginning in some type of treatment that is absolutely going to change how you look, or perhaps some of you would decide to go for surgery, have a sex change, or perhaps enhance a certain part of your body. Or some of you will have a name change, and that name change could be because you got married. Everyone gets one new moon a year. This is a major window for you to make a change in how you want other people to see you or know you. Your ruling planet, the sun, is always involved in all lunations, so you tend to feel lunations quite personally. This one is going to be a rather happy new moon. It's a joyful new moon simply because the lunation is making only positive aspects and important aspects to important planets. The Mars Jupiter conjunction is bringing a lot of positive vibe, a lot of positive vibes, a lot of positive energy, a lot of positive revitalizing energy. The trine aspect to the lunar nodes is also helping to propel you towards your destined future. These are really positive and harmonious aspects. There'll be plenty of opportunities for you to fulfill what is really deeply meaningful to you. The Mercury retrograde is going to begin in your 12th house. This is a subconscious area in our chart because it's a hidden area. It is the house of self-sabotage. It's the house of our hidden enemies. This is also the house of generational karma. Generational karma is the karma that we inherit from past generations. This karma is not karma that we created. We inherit this karma simply because of being born into a certain family with a certain last name. So this is not ours to carry in this lifetime. So this retrograde in Virgo with Mercury powerful because he owns this house and rules this house and is conjuncting Venus. This is giving you an opportunity to choose your own path in this life. Some of you could have inherited bad karma like addictions from past generations. Karma like women don't get married in your family or men are never successful in your family. This is not your karma for you to carry on in this lifetime. Your new moon, this once a year new moon, is giving you a chance to define yourself, make your own karma in this lifetime. Don't pay for the sins of the father. This is your chance to see this karma clearly and leave it behind. Whether it's you deciding to empower yourself and not live a life of addictions, to say you're going to be different and have a new beginning with yourself and who you are by deciding to firmly go and seek treatment and be a better person in this lifetime. Perhaps Leo is being given an opportunity to go over this house and perhaps to know and find out what your hidden enemies are. Mercury is going over this information. Perhaps this new moon is giving you an opportunity to go over your generational karma and to decide to not let this generational karma define who you are in this lifetime. And you're being given this new beginning in your first house to begin anew. A brand new beginning in the way you want other people to see you, the way you want other people to judge you based on who you are and your abilities, and not to be defined by your generational karma. Virgo ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 12th house. This is where you'll have a brand new beginning and perhaps an ending, because whenever we begin something new, something has to come to an end. This is also where you're going to have the Mercury retrograde. Virgo, I suggest that you go back and listen to the entire introduction of this video, because there's a lot of information that is going to help you understand how to evaluate your own natal birth chart. The Mercury retrograde is going to begin in your sign. So if you have anything around 4 degrees of Virgo, you're going to be highly impacted. This is the best part of the retrograde cycle for you, simply because Mercury rules you. So Mercury is dominant. You're in charge of this area. You're in charge of deciding how you're going to change yourself, because Mercury is going to be retrograding conjunct your ascendant, your moon, or your sun sign. There's some things about you, your personality, or how other people see you that you need to go over, that you need to revise. Maybe you need to make some tweaks and changes with your wardrobe, your hairstyle, or perhaps your exercise regimen, or perhaps some surgery that you did that needs correction. This is the time for you to go over these details with your doctor. How are you taking care of these things? Perhaps it's a good idea for you to write down the changes that you want to make, because this part of the retrograde is only going to go on for about 4 days or so. You have to quickly take advantage of this energy, because once Mercury starts retrograding in your 12th house, this is the area where you're going to become blind. This is the area where you cannot see. Because the 12th house is the dark place. This is the area of our subconscious. It's an area of rest and dreams. It rules over hidden places like hospitals, asylums, and far off foreign lands. It is the place that rules the spaces in between, the places that we cannot see, feel, or touch. It's a psychic house. It's a house of our generational karma. Karma that is handed down to us us simply because of our last name and the family that we're born into. We did not make this karma. We did not choose this karma. So this lunation is highlighting this area. And perhaps for some of you, these lights are going to expose your hidden enemies. You're going to know who your hidden enemy is, or your own self-sabotaging habits. And we self-sabotage through bad habits like drinking too much, having illicit affairs, or just doing things which are not helpful or healthy behind the scenes, where nobody can see. So the new beginning could go like this. You have the retrograde in your first house. You discover who you are, who you want to be, and how you want to be seen by others. And you also look at your faults. And then you have the retrograde in the hidden place. You look over your bad habits, your self-sabotaging habits, and you decide to finally do something about them. Some of you may decide to go to rehab. Others of you may decide to get some type of spiritual healing or counseling. Some of you who will go over your generational karma, and perhaps some of you are going to decide to separate yourself from your generational karma. You're going to choose your own path. You're going to say, this is it. This is no longer my cross to bear. It's no longer my cross to carry. It's something that I inherited from my forefathers. It's not mine in this lifetime. So some of you are going to essentially put an end to this, to an end to karma that is not yours. And the Mercury retrograde is going to provide you information that you need. Perhaps you're going to get a communication from somebody who is from your generation, from somebody in your generation, an ancestor, a grandmother, or a grandfather. Perhaps they're going to communicate vital information through your dreams, because this is a place of rest and dreams. Also the house of the subconscious. It's a psychic house. So pay attention to your dreams and make sure you write down any information that you receive in your dreams. Your ruling planet Mercury is not aspecting this lunation. Mercury is going retrograde a day after this lunation, and is going to be making very important conjunctions and square aspects. The good aspects he's going to be making is the conjunction to Venus at the time, or at the beginning of the retrograde cycle, which I've already told you is a very important time, is a very important part of the retrograde for you, because you're going to be empowered during this retrograde, and you're going to lose your power slightly when Mercury goes into the 12th house, the hidden area, into the sign of Leo, and he's going to be making challenging aspects, square aspects to the previous Mars-Algol conjunction, which is just now the Algol-Uranus conjunction. Is going to be kicking up dust. So you might be delivering some unpleasant news to someone at this time, or you might be the person on the receiving end of unpleasant news at the time of the square. The retrograde cycle in the 12th house could really bring up old issues, perhaps things that you may have suppressed deep in your mind, in your subconscious. It may be a spiritual journey for some of you. I've listed all the dates in the introduction, so if you've not listened to the introduction of this video, Virgo, I suggest that you go back and listen to the introduction, because there's a lot of information that you can use to evaluate your own natal birth chart. If you need further guidance, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Libra ascendant, Sun or Moon. This lunation is happening in your 11th house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we start something new, something has to come to an end. This is also the house where you'll have the Mercury retrograde. I think this lunation is going to be very positive for you, Libra, simply because your sign sextiles the sign of Leo, and the transiting south node is in your sign. So you have this lovely aspect that is giving you an opportunity to get something from your past. This lunation and retrograde has something to do with the prior Leo VSP at 20 degrees of Leo that happened last year. You're bringing something from the past in order to move yourself towards your future. Mercury retrograde starts very strong in your 12th house area, your hidden area. You need something from this area in order to move forward. Libra, if you've not listened to the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the introduction. The information in the introduction is going to help you evaluate how this lunation and Mercury retrograde is going to aspect your own natal birth chart. The Mercury retrograde is going to start in the 12th house. The 12th house is a hidden house. You cannot see in this house. This is where we're blind. This is the house of self-sabotage, and we self-sabotage through our bad habits, drinking, doing drugs, having illicit affairs. It is the house also of generational karma, and generational karma is not karma we earned. It's karma that is passed down to us because of our last name or the family that we're born into. So you really have no control here, and this is why this is a psychic place. It's also a place of spirituality. It's a place where we rest and dream. So the beginning of the retrograde is where you're going to feel much more empowered, simply because the ruler of Virgo is Mercury, and Mercury is going to be transiting Virgo because this is the starting point of the retrograde cycle. And later on, your ruling planet Venus is going to be transiting the sign of Virgo and is going to eventually conjunct with retrograde Mercury. So you have this chance to really look over what is important, what is meaningful and important to you. This is your chance to perhaps say no to certain karmas that you may have inherited. It's a chance for you to say no to being an addict. It's a chance for you to say, I'm going to choose my own life path in this lifetime. I'm not going to repeat what has been done from generation. What has been done in my past generations. I'm not going to continue paying for the sins of my father. This will be the time period where you're empowered to perhaps say, you're going to go to rehab and have a new beginning, so you can have a chance to really achieve what is truly meaningful to you, your hopes, dreams, and wishes. Mercury retrogrades into your 11th house. This is what it's going to be looking at. What truly makes you happy in this life? What is the karma that you want to initiate or carry in this lifetime? The 11th house rules over the groups that we belong to, our friends, our social media platforms. The 11th house is the house that rewards all the work that we did in the 10th house. This is the house of promotions, accolades, financial windfalls. This is the house that shows our achievements. This is the house of reward. Some of you could have a new beginning with a friend, an uncle, or with a benefactor. Perhaps this benefactor is willing to provide you the funding that you need to initiate a new business, or perhaps a friend is able to introduce you to key people who can help you really achieve your hopes, dreams, and wishes, or perhaps introduce you to a social media platform that is going to be helpful with you promoting your business. And if some of you made a really important decision about dealing with your self-sabotaging habits, this could be you having a new beginning in some type of a treatment home that has a more friendly vibe, and where you can meet people, like-minded people, where you feel you belong. Perhaps it's not advisable to be really close with people who are also dealing with addiction problems, but if that's not your problem, this could be an excellent opportunity for you to meet new people who can be in your life for a long time to come. Libra, if you need further guidance, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Scorpio ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 10th house. This is where you'll have a brand new beginning and perhaps an ending, because whenever we begin something new, something else has to end. This is also where you're going to have the Mercury retrograde. However, the Mercury retrograde is going to start in your 11th house, and this is the area where you're going to feel highly empowered, simply because the sign of Virgo is ruled by Mercury. So Mercury is dominant in the beginning of the retrograde cycle in Virgo, and Virgo is a sign sextiles Scorpio. This is a positive aspect. It's going to bring opportunities or information that you need in order to take action that is really going to be important at the beginning of this retrograde cycle. Scorpio, you are a fixed sign, and the 10th house is an angle house. And when an angle house is activated, it activates all the other angles in your chart. So essentially, this means that this lunation could absolutely change your life. And if you remember, the Leo VSP probably brought a brand new beginning in your life sometime in August. Scorpio, if you've not listened to the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the introduction, because it's going to give you more information on how you can understand this lunation, or perhaps evaluate your own natal birth chart. And if you need help doing this, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Keep in mind that Mercury is going over information that may have happened at your job with authority figures, last August. Mercury is going to go over the degree of the previous VSP in Leo at 20 degrees of Leo. And this is going to happen towards the end of the Mercury retrograde cycle. This is probably when you're going to have that much needed information that you need in order to move certain projects forward. The beginning of the Mercury retrograde is really important for you because it's highlighting your 11th house, the groups that you belong to, your hopes, dreams, and wishes, your eldest siblings. This area also rules over social media platforms that we may belong to or want to belong to. Mercury retrograde is giving you an opportunity to go over what is truly meaningful to you. Are your hopes, dreams, and wishes still valid at this point in your life, at this age in your life? Are these the things that you still want in your life moving forward? It's going to be a really quick, short window, so I suggest that you get straight on what is really important to you. And remember, Venus rules an angle in your chart. It rules the descendant, and this is the area of other people, like your marriage partner, your business partner, your business agreements. These are the issues you're probably reevaluating at this time. You can reevaluate those issues intelligently while Mercury is in the sign of Virgo, before Mercury moves into the sign of Leo and things start to get really quite challenging. The 10th house is a parental axis. It's usually the dominant parent, most likely the father. So whatever you initiate may have something to do with one of your parents. The 10th house also rules over the government, our authority figures, our standing in society, the work that we do, how we're known by others. So whenever we have a new moon here, a new beginning, it's going to be public. Others of you could have an ending in a job and now you're seeking employment. And for those who have been seeking employment for a while, that is you finding a new job. This lunation will bring you a new beginning in your job and in your status or your standing in society. Others of you could change how you're known by others because you got married or you became a parent. Some of you got a divorce, and some of you perhaps even got widowed. All those are changes to your status. Scorpio is a fixed sign. This means that this lunation is going to come with its challenges. You're going to be pushed into taking action. And perhaps this is action that is necessary. Some of us need to literally be pushed into taking action. Scorpios tend to stay in relationships or jobs and situations past their due date, past their past due date. We tend to hold on to situations, even situations that are not good for us. So this is an excellent lunation to make a clean break in this area. Scorpio by sign squares Leo, so this is a challenging aspect, as I've already stated. But your ruling planet, Mars, is making a very lovely aspect to this lunation, a harmonious trine aspect that is giving you the much needed enthusiasm and energy to get out there and be enthusiastic about making a new beginning. And since Mars is transiting your 8th house, perhaps some of you have access to other people's money in some way, or you're getting an inheritance, or you're hearing about you getting access to other people's money. Perhaps it's a mortgage or some type of loan that is going to help you make a name for yourself, perhaps start your own business. So it is challenging in that it's going to push you into taking action. But like I said, if you get the financing that you need, it will be easier for you to make the tables turn in your life. And Mars, your ruling planet, is aspecting this lunation with a sextile aspect, bringing opportunities for you to advance yourself in some way. And because you've gone over what is truly important, what really makes you happy, what are your hopes, dreams, and wishes? Which ones are you going to keep and which ones are you going to let go? That was the opportunity that you were given at the beginning of the retrograde cycle in the Virgo area, where you were somewhat empowered because of another sextile aspect. Pluto, your other ruling planet, is not aspecting this lunation. He has his own other aspect, which I spoke about in the introduction of this video. If you'd like to know how this is going to aspect you according to your natal placements, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Sagittarius, ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 9th house. This is where you're going to have a brand new beginning and perhaps an ending, because whenever we start something new, something else has to end. This is the area where you're also going to have the Mercury retrograde. However, the Mercury retrograde is going to begin in your 10th house, and the 10th house is an angle house. This is where Mercury is going to be much more effective because Mercury rules the sign of Virgo and is also going to conjunct Venus. So this is a short window where you can successfully go over what is really important to you and you advancing in your career or with your standing in society or with authority figures. This is going to be really important for you if you just started a new job or if you're looking for a new job. This is your chance to investigate the company. Is this the type of company that you want to belong to? Does this company suit with your culture, your ideals, your belief system? Is this a good fit for your future? This is what you're evaluating when Mercury goes retrograde in the sign of Leo, your ninth house, where the new moon is. The ninth house is the house that rules over our belief system. It is the house that rules over our future. It's a house that rules over the justice system, law and order, universities, our gurus, priests, professors, anybody that you look up to. It is the house that also rules over foreign people and foreign lands. So essentially, that means some of you could have a brand new beginning in a foreign country or with a foreign person. Others of you could have a new beginning in a lawsuit. Perhaps you're initiating a lawsuit against somebody at the time of this lunation, or others of you could possibly be ending a lawsuit, an ending of a lawsuit that brings a major brand new beginning in their life. Others of you could be starting university at this time. You're having difficulties deciding which subject to major in, and Mercury retrograde is going to help you make that decision. However, this is the time of the new beginning, so perhaps it's just best for you to enroll in college and decide what to major in later on. You don't have all the information that you need to make that decision at this time. The planet that rules over the small details, information, and your mind is going backwards. This is not the time for you to make decisions that are going to stick. It's okay to make decisions that you can change later on. Some of you could have a new beginning in a foreign land with foreigners and perhaps even having to learn a foreign language. Some of you could just be vacationing in a foreign country. Some of you will have a new beginning in your belief system. Perhaps you're changing a religion. You're joining a new faith, a new church. Mercury is retrograding in this same area. You might have a lot of unanswered questions. Answers to these questions could really define your future or your belief system. So Mercury, the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Leo is going to be a bit challenging because Mercury is making challenging aspects to the sign of Taurus, particularly the Uranus-Algol conjunction. This is not going to be an easy transit for you to decide your future. You might have to press hold on major life-changing decisions. Wait till the planet of mind and thought is moving direct before you decide to move your whole life to another country. Sagittarius is one of the signs that's going to have a positive result from this lunation, simply because Sagittarius trines Leo. A trine aspect makes things happen effortlessly and easily. Your ruling planet is currently transiting your opposite sign of Gemini. So you're probably having to deal with others, but you're dealing with others in a harmonious way, because this lunation is bringing good things towards you, good positive energy, and is also bringing opportunities for you to advance yourself into a new future. You're beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. Sagittarius, if you've not listened to the beginning of this introduction, I suggest that you go and listen to the entire introduction, because there's a lot of information that is going to help you understand how this lunation is going to affect you according to the placements in your own natal birth chart. And if you'd like further guidance, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. This is going to be a very positive new moon for you, Sagittarius. It's going to define who you are and your future. Capricorn, ascendant, sun or moon. The new moon is happening in your 8th house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we start something brand new, something has to come to an end. This is also the house where you're going to have the Mercury retrograde. However, I would like you to pay attention to the beginning of the Mercury retrograde transit while it's in the house of Virgo, simply because Mercury is empowered in this house. He rules the sign of Virgo. He's dominant in this house. He knows what he's doing. This is a really important house. This is the house of your future. So you're looking over important details that will determine your future. Is there a light at the end of the tunnel? These are the questions that you are asking yourself. Perhaps there's information that you need to sort through before you make important decisions. You have about 4 days when this retrograde is highly beneficial for you. The eighth house is a hidden house. It's a psychological house. It's a complicated house because this is where we keep our secrets that we keep from others, and sometimes secrets that we keep from ourselves. The eighth house rules over other people's money and earned income, like mortgages, loans, and inheritances. This is the house of deep bonding, deep intimacy. It is the house of shared resources. It is also the house of sex, death, and taxes. So perhaps the new beginning for you is that you receive an inheritance because somebody passed, and this inheritance is something that is going to determine where you go from now and your future. So you may have been looking at deeds or some other type of legal information that you need in order to clear your inheritance. So some of you could have essentially been sorting out legal information or legal paperwork or some type of important paperwork that is needed in order for you to get a mortgage, to get your inheritance, any paperwork that has to do with death certificates, whatever paperwork that you needed from the ninth house. Some of you could have a new beginning in your intimate relationships because you're probably separating finances at the time of this lunation. So one of you or the other person is no longer receiving the support of the other, or no longer having the needs to support another person. So there is a major change in your finances, your unearned income, or your shared resources. Some of you who have been going through a separation could have a new beginning now that the divorce is finalized and your finances are separated. Mercury going retrograde in the eighth house could have you going over your deep hidden issues that you probably don't want to deal with. The new beginning could be that you decide to get help with a psychologist by beginning some type of therapy. It's very likely that it's going to dig up some secrets or issues that you don't want to deal with, issues that were hidden and have been brought up to the surface to be dealt with. You may have to be contending or dealing with some angry people because of the square aspect that is going to go on between Mercury and Uranus. Perhaps there's a dispute over finances or over the inheritance, over who gets what and how it's divided. If you've been in a long-term relationship, the new beginning could be that you decide to move in with your long-term partner, and because you're living together, you start sharing your resources. Capricorn, this house is a very deep and intimate house. It has a lot of layers. Before you make any life-changing decisions, I suggest that you wait until Mercury is moving direct so that you can make well-informed decisions because you're thinking clearly. Your ruling planet Saturn is not aspecting this lunation. Your ruling planet Saturn is making a quincunx aspect to this lunation. So perhaps there is something that you're not seeing clearly. Perhaps there is something that you don't have enough information about. You need to investigate further before you make a life-changing decision. This is your ruling planet that is somewhat blind and cannot see what's going on in the Leo house. Capricorn ascendant, I don't think this is going to be one of your most life-changing lunations, simply because your sign does not see the sign of Leo. There is no aspect. However, you have a very positive aspect to the Mercury retrograde in Virgo. So this is an open window that is really positive. This is an area where you can use to really go over really important details that could change your future. Aquarius ascendant, sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 7th house. This is where you'll have brand new beginnings and perhaps some endings, because whenever we begin something else has to come to an end. 7th house is also the area where you're going to have the Mercury retrograde. I suggest that you take advantage of the Mercury retrograde in the sign of Virgo at the very beginning of the retrograde, simply because Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. He's dominant here, so you can really separate what is useful and what is not useful in your eighth house of other people's money. So this is a very delicate area because it is also the area where we keep our secrets that we keep from others, and secrets that we also keep from ourselves. Get that information straightened out, whether it has to do with an inheritance, a loan, a mortgage, or the finances that you share with another person, like a partner or a business partner. Because when Mercury goes into the sign of Leo, he's going to oppose your sign, and it's going to become a little bit more challenging. You're going to find that people are opposing you. There will be a new beginning with your partner, with your partnerships. This new beginning could be absolutely life-changing because the seventh house is an angle house, and when an angle house is activated, it activates all the other angles in our life. The seventh house opposes you. That's other people saying no, other people saying we need to talk about this, we need to negotiate, I don't like this, I don't like where this is going, I don't like how much I'm getting out of this deal. Things like that that could derail a relationship or a business partnership. The seventh house squares the 10th house, which is another angle house, the public house. It also squares the fourth house, the home house, which is also another angle house, and an intimate, vulnerable space. This lunation is going to be challenging, and it could be life-changing for you, Aquarius. And remember, you have Pluto transiting your first house and changing who you are on a deep soul level. That is already a difficult and challenging transit that you're going to go through for the next 20 years, depending on the degree of your ascendant. Some of you will have a new beginning in your marriage, in your business partnerships. If you've been dating someone for a long time, the new beginning, there will be a new beginning in this relationship because you decide to take this relationship to the next level and get married. Venus is transiting at an anaretic degree at the time of this lunation and is asking you, what do you truly love and value? What is in your heart? What is going to make you feel whole and complete? Because Venus rules your intimate area, your fourth house area, and wants a decision at the time of this lunation. You probably won't have much of a chance to go over this because Venus is going to go into the next sign of Virgo within a few hours. Fortunately, Venus is going to meet up with Mercury and give you a chance to make reconciliations or negotiations in your relationships and your partnerships, perhaps as a result of oppositions, disagreements, or arguments that may have started at the time of the lunation. Aquarius, I have to be honest and let you know that this lunation is looking really positive for your partners, your marriage partner, your business partner, or your long-term relationship, or any other person that you have an agreement with, because they are getting the positive aspects of this lunation, the aspects to the transiting karmic nodes, and the aspects to the Jupiter-Mars conjunction in the sign of Gemini. So they are highly empowered. So you are the person that probably has to agree to meet them halfway. You have to agree to their terms because they're the ones who are more empowered and receiving more help at the time of the lunation. Your ruling planet Uranus is not involved in this lunation. However, Uranus is the planet that is going to be squared by Mercury a little bit later in Mercury's retrograde transit. You are going to be challenged. You're going to receive some unexpected, perhaps unpleasant news when this aspect happens. Your other ruling planet Saturn is kind of involved in this lunation because he is aspecting this lunation by a quincunx aspect. This is an aspect which is kind of like a no aspect because these two planets cannot see each other. They're sharing a similar or close enough degree. They cannot see what's going on in those houses. So there is some challenge here because you're not probably going to know which direction to take, what to negotiate and what to not to negotiate, simply because you don't know what's going on simply because you don't know what's going on with your other ruler. So you are kind of undecided or split in different directions at the time of this lunation. Aquarius, if you've not listened to the introduction of this video, I suggest that you go back and listen to the entire introduction. This is going to help you evaluate how this lunation is going to aspect your own natal birth chart. And if you need further guidance, I suggest that you book a reading with me at rachel-mayo.com. Pisces ascendant sun or moon. This lunation is happening in your 6th house. This is where you'll have a brand new beginning and perhaps an ending. Because whenever we start something new, something has to come to an end. This is also the house where you'll have the Mercury retrograde. However, the Mercury retrograde is going to begin in Virgo, where he will be actually much more empowered because Mercury rules the sign of Virgo. So this will be your opportunity to really sort out issues when it comes to your partnerships, your marriage, and your business arrangements, agreements. Because Mercury is going to start the retrograde in your 7th house of other people, and others are going to be highly powerful at this time. So, and they're going to be pointing direction. They're going to be showing you the important issues that you need to go over in your relationships, giving you important information that you need going forward. The beginning of this retrograde is really important to you, is really important for you, because when an angle house is activated, it activates all the other angles in your chart. So whatever information you're going over or receiving at this time is something that could possibly be life-changing for your relationships, and it could also possibly change your daily routine, because this is what the 6th house rules. It rules over our co-workers, the work that we do, our health, our diet, our exercise regimen. It also rules over our known enemies, and our known enemies could be known diseases, which are probably as a result of our bad daily habits. So if you've been looking for employment, this could be the time that you find a job, and this could be your new beginning, a new job. Others of you could have a new beginning in your health. Perhaps you're starting a new treatment at the time of this lunation. Others could be starting a new exercise regimen. You're starting a new diet. Others could have a new beginning with their pet. We take care of our pet on a daily basis. So there could be some of you having a new beginning with your pet, or perhaps you're adopting a new pet. Your ruling planet Jupiter is involved in this lunation. Your ruling planet Jupiter is aspecting this lunation with a very positive aspect. Jupiter is transiting the sign of Gemini conjunct Mars. He's highly energized. So you're feeling really powerful at this time. Jupiter is forming a sextile aspect, bringing you opportunities that you need to take advantage of by taking action, because if you don't take action, the sextile aspect dissipates. Jupiter is also aspecting the transiting south and north node with a sextile and trine aspect. This is an aspect that's going to make it easier for you to decide what is really important for you to take moving forward, what is really meaningful to you, what truly makes you happy. Your other ruling planet, Neptune, is not aspecting this lunation. He is, however, making an aspect at the time of this lunation to Venus, who's transiting in the sign of Leo. Neptune is making a quincunx aspect. The quincunx aspect is sometimes the aspect of agreeing to disagree. You know the position of the other person, but you can't see where they are because you're in a house that does not see the other person. So it's kind of a blind aspect. This will bring some challenges. So I suggest that you lean into the aspects that Jupiter is making at the time of this lunation. Some of you could be re-evaluating how you want to live your life moving forward with a partner, because the retrograde begins in your 7th house of partnerships, and goes into your 6th house of how you do your daily life and how you do your daily life with another person. This is an important transit that could really change how you do your daily routine, your daily life.